Styling 101. I am Barracuda Cosplay. I always feel really silly saying the cosplay part. It's very much a relic of Facebook times, back when everyone had their last name as Cosplay. So I'm Barracuda or Barry. All my social media is OMG, it's Barry, so that's how to find me. I will answer to Barracuda, I will answer to Barry, but yes, that is me. I have been cosplaying for 18 years now. I started in 2006. Back then, I actually was very anti-wig, which is funny to me because now here I am as a professional wig commissioner. But so I bought my first wig in 2012. It was a $15 pink eBay wig that I intended to make into an Utena wig. Did not end up cosplaying Utena until 10 years later, but you know, Utena brought me lots of places, and I will thank that wig because I still have it actually. I can have it with me, obviously, but anyway, I have been styling wigs since then. I kind of started learning. My first big project was Mami Tomoe from Madoka Magica with her spirals. That was actually, I think I was ahead of my time because I was using loose fibers cut from a wig back then in 2012. When now that's how everyone does wigs now, or so many people do wigs now. But anyway, I am here to give some basics. So who here is terrified of wigs? Okay, so I promise they're not scary. They just take a lot of patience and just being very careful, going slowly, and that's really the key. But anyway, so we have our wig. I don't have a base wig because I forgot bringing one, but we've got wigs. Wigs are made of many pieces. There is usually a skin top base that is the top of the wig. It's usually the top of the very top section. I brought the disassembled wig that I used for my velvet to show you guys kind of the innards of what a wig looks like. So this is kind of the inside. This is what a deconstructed wig cap. This is what a deconstructed wig cap will look like. There usually will also be an elastic band that keeps it from the ear tabs all the way around, so it actually holds its structure. But this is what is under all of your wigs, 99% of the time. And wigs also have what are known as wefts. And this is what your wefts will look like. They are on a track that is sewn, and then they are just any length on this track. And this is how you can either buy wefts just separately, just like this, or if you pick it off your wig, this is what it'll look like. Don't promise. So basically, once you have your wig, who's calling me? Hi, my panel has started. It's in like, hello. No, I'm good. Thank you. But anyway, so this is pretty much just this is the bones of your wig. Once you have that, you can really, once you kind of understand how a wig is put together, you can kind of manipulate your wig in pretty much any way you want. From craziness, I really should have made a panel of PowerPoint to show pictures of wigs. But anyway, you can do a lot. But everyone coming in is distracting me. Okay, anyway, so what you're going to do, the very basic things. Generally, you get your wig, even if it is a character wig, it generally comes only styled to some extent. So the key is you need to learn the basics of what tools you'll need to be successful. Let me get out my shears, which are the most important tools. These, a pair of hair cutting shears. These are my pretty ones, but these are going to be your best friend when it comes to wig. You can use normal craft scissors, but I highly recommend, if you are going to invest in any wig styling product, hair shears. They are sharper, they work really well on the plastic fibers, and you're always going to need to trim your wig. So to We've also got a couple different types of shears. There is also thinning shears, which have little teeth. You guys can see. Sorry, I wish it was but yeah, so it's got little teeth. So when you cut, it only cuts some of the fiber and keeps some of the rest, so that it just thins it. So you kind of use it. So if you cut it, it cuts like this. So you get that, and it only pulls out part of the fiber, and then you have a thinner block, which is really great for spiking and really good for like getting those really like sharp shapes like this. So this is pretty much what's called feathering. Feathering can also be done with regular shears, but having the thinning shears really helps to just kind of get rid of that extra fiber without a lot of effort. The next tool in my toolkit is the wig block. I really like wig blocks over foam wig heads. They are a bit more expensive. They run about like $25 on Amazon or where at your local beauty supply. They come in various head circumferences. They unfortunately only come in full sizes as opposed to half sizes, so you will have to pad it out if your circumference is somewhere in between. This one is a 22-inch, which is about standard head size for most people. I highly recommend, especially if you're making a fitted wig, you will want to get one that is in your correct head size or pad out one that is smaller than your head. So let's say, for example, I have a 21.5-inch circumference. I have a very small head, which it does not do me any favors when it comes to artist big caps. But anyway, so I usually style on it's better to start big and work your way down, because small, tight wigs, I don't know if anyone here has experienced a small, tight wig, but yeah, I see it, yeah, no, it's not fun to wear a wig that is too small for your head. It hurts a lot, very quickly. So I also highly recommend, if you are going to be making structured wigs especially, get one of these guys. These guys are nice and sturdy, they don't wobble around on your base, and I also highly recommend wig tripods. They are specifically meant for wigs. There's a little hole in the bottom of the block, and then it also comes with this little post, and then you can also adjust this. You can move it in any direction. It's on a ball, like a ball joint, and it just helps keep everything stable when you're working. They also sell wig clamps, and if you work in a smaller space and you don't necessarily want to be next to the tripod, the wig clamps are great. I did not bring my wig clamp, but look up a wig clamp. It's a thing. It screws onto your table. You stick it on. It's got one of the tops of the same thing that's in the top of this tripod, and you can mount it to your table and use that. You can also get creative. I have seen and have used wine bottles, anything that will fit a wig head on it, but especially if you're working with a wig block, they are specifically made with the thing that sticks out of the wig thing. The thing that sticks out of the wig tripod or wig. Yes, the post. Thank you. There we go. Sorry, it's been a long weekend. But anyway, so those are my three big. If you are going to invest in any tools, you should get wig shears or just hair scissors. You can get them at CVS. A wig tripod and a wig block. If you really want to up your wig game. Again, it does work. You can use foam heads. I highly recommend, if you are going to use a foam head, either get the male foam heads. They're a little bigger than the female shaped ones. I think they're probably about a 22-inch circumference as well. They might be a little smaller, so don't quote me on that. I haven't actually measured one. I usually use them more for display because a wig block just is so much more sturdy and doesn't deteriorate as you work. The other thing I will note with wig blocks, if you notice, this is wrapped in saran wrap. This is to protect the wig when you are painting, when you are hair drying, and when you are using hairspray on it. It protects the base material, which is usually a canvas, from getting gross. So I change this out probably maybe every 2 wigs, depending on, I have like 5 of these. So I trade them out. This one obviously needs to get changed. I've airbrushed on it multiple times, as you can see. But those are my biggest recommendations as far as just your basic tools that you would want. The other really helpful tools I find, which a lot of people will have, is a hair straightener. Hair straightener, this guy can do so much. This guy can do these little flips so easy. You turn your heat on, make sure you check what temperature your wig can handle, and go about 100 degrees to 200 degrees below that. You don't want to melt your wig, especially if it's a nicer Arta wig, or you just spent a lot of money on it and you don't want to melt your wig. Unless that's your goal to have a crunchy wig, which I don't think is anyone's goal. But anyway, so this is a very powerful tool. This can do a lot. You can straighten curls, you can do little flicks, which is my favorite thing for this. You can use it to shape pieces, and it's just a great tool to have. I really like to use this. You can also use this for curling. So basically you heat up your fiber, you wrap it around a rod or something that's the size of your curl that you need, and you hold it and make sure it cools. The key with wigs and any shaping with wigs is that a wig, think of it, is more of a sculpture. So when you have the fibers, it's unlike natural hair, which will like immediately hold a shape. You need to let the fiber cool in the shape that you want it to be in. So for example, with this wig, when I wanted this shape right here on for the cheeks, the little cheek flippies, I brought my hair straightener down this shape, and then I kind of held it in place with my hands. I also recommend having a heat glove if you're going to do this. They're great, they're really cheap, and they will save you a lot of pain. They are wonderful. This one actually came with my crimper, which is another really great tool that I will get into in a moment. There's lots of people here. There's one more seat, I think, right here. So we can sit. Hopefully there's a couple in the middle. But yeah, so another one of my favorite tools is the crimper, which I know a lot of people have seen a resurgence of in recent years. This is also another powerful tool that is really great for texture. But with great power comes great responsibility. We don't want crinkle cut fry wigs. No one likes how it looks. And if you do, that's no hate, but I personally don't like it. So what I like to encourage you all, if you are going to be using a crimper, is to use the term texturizing, which this fiber has been crimped. Can you tell it has been crimped?
No.
Yes. If you come up close, you can see a little bit of the crimps. I can come to a couple of the people up front. You can see a little bit of the crimping, but it is still just texturized. And crimping can do a lot for your wigs because it adds a lot of body. You're basically, if you think about wigs, think about like just something that is immediate, will never be the same after it is perfectly smooth. So you just work with that, use that to your advantage when you're building your shapes for your wigs. So that is kind of where the idea and how crimping really works, is that you are creating these micro little dents in your fibers to expand the wig fiber, which is how you get it really puffy. But it also, there's some benefits. It definitely is way less tangly. So I personally like to do it for like, you know when you get little snarls at the back of your head and on the neck? I usually will crimp, especially on long wigs, I will crimp that neck, like the last 4 rows of fiber on the wig to crimp it, and it keeps the wig from tangling as much. It's really great. It's my biggest tip. If you leave any tip, crimp the underlayer of your wig. You can't see it, and it helps with less tangling, which is wonderful. Let's see. So back to texturizing. So texturizing is basically you crimp your wig so you get a little crunchy, and then you go over it because it is essentially a straightening iron just with little teeth. So let me see if I can pull this off. So this one particularly comes with interchangeable plates, but I also highly recommend, if you are going to get one with interchangeable plates, find the one with the smallest teeth. Because there's ones that have like really big grooves in it, and then there's ones with the really small grooves. The small grooves are going to give you the best results. Or you can find one that has removable plates like this, which I think I got this one on, I think I got this one on Amazon, so they're very easy to come by. But again, I highly recommend finding one with the thinner plate, the thinner teeth, so you get less obvious print marks. So basically what you do when you get this on here, come on, why are you not going on? I'm not going in the track. But anyway, it will work exactly like a hair straightener as long as you don't press down really hard with the teeth. So what I like to do, I'll go through, I'll do one pass where I crimp it and I will go down, I'll crimp down the wig, down the length of my fiber, and then I will go back over while it is still hot and just slowly, with less pressure on holding it, I just kind of bring it down and treat it more like a straightener. So that is the best way to really get rid of having really noticeable crimp marks. You are unfortunately still going to have print marks. It's just the nature, it's just how wigs work. I have not found a way to make a crimped wig go perfectly smooth again. It's just, I don't know if it's possible. I'll let you know if I ever find out, because I'd love to be able to reverse crimping, but it's not reversible at this point. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so this is a very powerful tool. I love it, but I also recommend texturizing your wig as opposed to just crimping it. You can also utilize the technique as of brushing the hot fiber, which also kind of just stretches out the fiber while it's warm to smooth out some of the immediate really deep crimps. And that is pretty much your. Why will you not go back on? Sorry to the recording.
It's okay.
There we go. Yay. Good job, you're capable. But yes, my next favorite tool that I like to use is an obvious one. This is definitely, you can find this, I don't know, in your mom's ass first. If you are stealing from someone, ask before you steal. If you can, you can't see, but this is covered in glue and hairspray now because I use it all the time. I highly recommend, if you are going to go find a hairdryer, find a cheap one. And I'm saying that because the cheap ones don't blow as much. If you have a really powerful hairdryer, you're going to be blowing your fiber all over the place. But if you have a less powerful one, you are just going to use it to blow heat at your wig and be able to dry any hairspray and set things in place. So I highly recommend, like I said, finding a cheap one. This literally is my grandmother's. It's probably older than I am, which is saying something because I'm old. And yeah, so this is a great tool for heat shaping as well as just drying and really setting your styles. So the other thing you're going to need to set your styles, yes. Hairspray.
Yay!
Love Got2b is probably the best thing in the United States for wig styling because it is more, the resins in it are, I think, more also for wigs than a lot of other hairsprays, because the hairsprays are meant to absorb into the oils of your skin and all, or the oils of your hair and all that. So they're not really meant for wigs. There's also, I don't have my bottle of it here, cosplay wigs, which is very cool. I went and I visited their shop when I was in Japan last year and was like, I'm surrounded by my people. Because everyone was literally like holding up their phones trying to like match their colors. I was like, I understand you. But like going into a shop that just had cosplay wigs was so cool. But anyway, they actually make a lot of specialized products for wig styling, including hairspray that is specifically meant for wigs. They have gel as well. Yeah. Assist. A-S-S-I-S-T. Assist. Like you're helping someone. An assist. This is actually probably my favorite tool. I call this the diaper. It's basically a diaper. But anyway, it goes on. You attach it to your wig block. Companies have this, but you just stick it on there. It sits on your wig block. You cut your wig, and it catches everything, which is really nice. Especially if you work on carpet like I do. Yeah. I don't know what the actual name of the product is. I can. Yes, it is an assist product. I don't know if they sell it in their international store, but it is a great product. I don't know. I wish I should have gotten that. But anyway, let's see. My other favorite tool for wig styling, steamer. This is my favorite wig styling tool. This can do so much. Again, highly recommend having a heat-proof glove or heat-proof gloves to work with this because this gets very hot. I also recommend finding, if you can, one that triggers steam. This is unique compared to a lot of other steamers that just kind of, once you turn it on, it just steams and you have to go. This one actually has the heating mechanism up here and will only work if you hit the trigger on it, and it can trigger steam, so you can control it. Yeah.
Could you also possibly use the steam function on an iron?
You can, you just don't get as much control. You could use steam on an iron, but it's just based on the shape of an iron, it's very difficult to utilize for wig styling. So I highly recommend, again, if you're gonna invest in anything, get a steamer. Steamers are really great for setting shapes. It's just a little bit hotter than a hairdryer, so you're gonna be able to really get those, really heat your fiber. Just again, like I said, make sure that you hold your fiber in the shape that you want it to be in, because that is the key. Is if you want your fiber to be a flip, you hold it in that flip until it is cool. Or if you want curls, you hold it in, you let it cool. That's what this is for. So you can combine this with curlers. There are a bunch of different types of curlers out there. This is a just like a clip-on curler. You wrap it around here and then you hold it with, you clip it on. There's those kinds of curlers. There are foam curlers. Foam curlers. These ones work just as well. You wrap the hair around your foam and then you clip it into place with the little attachment. And then to curl a whole wig or curl a couple pieces, you're going to want to take a plastic bag, any plastic bag that you can find. A trash bag works great. Stick it over your wig. Stick some steam in there. Let it steam up, get really hot in there, and then let it sit. You let it sit, let it cool. You're gonna get great, beautiful curls when you're done. And it's all cool, and you take out your curlers, and it's wonderful. Yes? No, go ahead. Hot curlers? I don't necessarily recommend hot curlers for wigs, just because the trick with wigs is really you want it to cool in that shape. You don't want it to just be heated in that shape. Unlike natural hair, that you need the heat to form the shape, you want the heat to soften the fiber enough that you can mold it into the shape that you want it to be. So again, like I said, that's what this is really great for, is that it gently heats it. It doesn't really blow, unlike a hairdryer. It just kind of releases the steam. So you're not getting fibers blowing all over the place, and you're just being able to evenly heat your fiber, and then you can sculpt it from there. Again, highly recommend, don't be like me who burned my hand many times, too many times, to use a steamer. Any of these hot tools, please get heat-proof gloves. Thank me later, because I have hurt myself many times. I burnt myself on my crimper literally like a week ago. But anyway, let's see. What other tools do I have? A round brush, and where's my brush? We've got a bunch of different brush types that you can use. And whatever. Anyway, yes, there are specific wig brushes, but there are also, this is called a teasing comb. It's got little fibers in here that just kind of help really like pull at the fiber. So when you're back combing, it really catches the fiber in, really create those knots that you want. So the key with teasing, as opposed to crimping, which you can combine the techniques as well, but you will get similar results. But crimping or teasing, unlike crimping, is mostly entirely reversible. So you will back comb your wig. Let's see, I'll try it on here. So you're gonna take your fiber. You're gonna back comb it, which is you're just dragging your comb down the wig. And if you see, I'm starting to get some knots down here. So once I have those knots, you're gonna actually, despite what you would think, you wanna keep some of the knots, but you don't wanna keep all the knots. So you can have a nice, smooth spike or shape or whatever you're creating. So you're gonna gently, after that, brush out the teasing that you just did, which sounds very counterintuitive, but trust me, it works. This took me a very long time to figure out, so I'm just like, please learn this now. And then you will kind of get this like fluffy material. Let me plug in my, there's a spot for it. Oh, where on the table? Oh, under the table. Oh, here, I see it. I got it. So this is how I like to tease. You start with your hair straightener, because again, you really want to soften those fibers to be able to destroy them. And it sounds weird to say, but you will be destroying your fibers. And it really hurts, and it hurts me every time, and I've been doing this for forever. But let me turn this on. And I will let that go. But anyway, while we're still talking, the key is you will back comb, and then you will brush out, and it will create this really frizzy texture, which is great for holding shapes. Which, if you see here, that's how this bit was created. Literally, I just went in, teased the fibers, brushed them out, had some smooth fiber on top. That was like an extra layer. Like this, about this much. If you are under here, this is all smooth fiber as opposed to, and then I just brush over some smooth fiber, and you have a beautiful shape. But yeah, now we're cooking. So basically, your key is, this is how I usually will. So I will straighten, run you to back comb until it is a total mess. Please stop yelling. Thank you. And then once you have this mess, you're going to very carefully brush it out. And it creates, see how it's creating a lot more volume just from the fact that and you're gonna wanna get out as many of the knots as possible, unless you are utilizing the knots as a foundation for like a gravity defying spike. That is the key for this. But you will also still get a pretty significant amount of lift from brushing out all of your knots. So as you can see, we've got a lot more fiber texture and volume compared to our non-teased section. So this is going to give you a lot of really nice volume to work with, and then you can pretty much shape this into any shape you want. You can do a spike, you could do just add volume, and it's definitely, it's probably, learning how to to tease definitely changed my wig game. So I highly recommend practicing teasing. I highly recommend buying just like a $15 wig from Amazon, practice your skills, and just kind of play and see how things work. And honestly, that's how I did it. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, even now. I will admit it. But yeah, so that's teasing. Teasing is great. But now I have my shape, and now I want it to stay. So I'm going to take some hairspray, which is essentially sprayable glue. You can also utilize watered down tacky glue in a spray bottle. I believe Sarah Spaceman tried that and was very successful with it when she was making her Strawberry Miku wig. So it works, but hairspray is much more convenient and much easier to come by. My other favorite thing for finishing spikes and all that is clear tacky glue. They unfortunately don't sell these bottles anymore that are my favorite bottles because it sits like this and the nozzle's down here, so you're never like, come on, get the glue. So that's what I really like. I just keep refilling this. I keep buying. So if you can find the ones that look like this, buy them. I haven't seen them in a while in Michael's. I bought all the ones that I have, but I literally just keep this one. The other thing I highly recommend is you can also decant into a smaller bottle that has like a twist and use that as well. So whatever really is comfortable for you as far as the like glue, but I highly recommend, especially if you're working with a glue that comes in a metal tube, like ooh-hoo, as I keep calling it ooh-woo, because I do, because you know, it's UHU, ooh-hoo, ooh-woo, UHU, I don't know how it's actually said, it's a German glue. You can buy it on Amazon though. UHU, it's in this yellow bottle, and once again, because it has that, who here has worked with E6000 before? You know how drippy and gross it gets coming out of the tubes. This is exactly why you want to decant it into one of these guys. This will make your life so much easier because E6000, just like Oohoo, it's very runny, so it's very hard to control when it is coming out of a tube that just oozes. So, like I said, you can get a pack of these at the dollar store, I'm pretty sure, and go with that. But yeah, so basically you really just take a little, I treat this like gel, almost. So I'll take a little bit of glue on my finger, and I will, you can use this to seal your ends. So I will take that, and you just kind of smush the glue into your fiber, and then you have a beautiful spike. Yeah, wow. So you literally just kind of smoosh it in there and let it dry. Tacky glue does take a while to dry, so definitely consider that in your styling time. And yeah. Yes, you can use white PVC glue, but clear tacky glue I find has better results. And just texturally, I prefer it. But again, white tacky glue will work just as well. But yeah, so you let it sit, and this will not move until you drench it in water to remove it. Which is my other favorite part about tacky glue, is that it is water soluble. And so if you mess up, you can rinse it out and start again. Because I mess up all the time. So it's okay to mess up. You can fix it if you're working with something like water soluble and tacky glue. Oohoo, on the other hand, is not. It is a solvent-based glue, so if you want to remove it, you're going to need some heavy-duty acetone. And I don't recommend working with acetone unless you really have to. So just be very careful with this glue. A lot of people like to work with this glue with like silicone spatulas to like create wefts out of loose fiber. You can do it just to smooth out the glue. And also, you really probably shouldn't be touching this glue because it's probably a little toxic. I see people all the time on the internet like taking a chunk of Oohoo and like smoothing it with their hands, and I'm like, oh no, I hope you are safe. Yeah. It has a slight odor. It's not nearly as powerful of an odor as E6000. 4000, but it does have an odor because it is solvent based. Since it has alcohol in it, you know, it's gonna smell like chemicals. But yeah, so that I really like for more permanent stuff. Yeah.
For the tacky glue, what do you do for waterproofing then in case of like rain?
Honestly, you really have, like, it will be pretty waterproof when it is totally dry. It's more, you have to like soak it in water. Like to get this when it's fully dry out, I will have to dunk this in water to get out. So if you're in the rain, as long as you're not totally drenched, it should be fine. And again, like I said, if you do end up, the nice thing is you can just take, tacky glue is so cheap and easy to find. You can just go back in, and I will generally touch up my spikes every so often with more tacky glue if they start to separate. Yeah.
I have a got to be yellow gel.
Yeah,
like
the gel
that one,
works
but
really well too. It's not, I find, as permanent as glue, but it does work really well.
Okay.
I have used that in replacement for tacky glue. Yeah, in the back.
Skin is very absorbent, and anything solvent-based is very toxic, so please use at least microphone.
Thank you. Listen to this person. Yes, we love PPE. So yes, be very careful with your solvent-based glues, but they are very, very, very good. Like, this does not move. I've tried to take off Uhu glue, and it does not come off. I've tried to remove it. You need to soak it with acetone to get it off. So it is a very permanent glue, which is great. Yeah? Nope, not as far as I know. At least it hasn't in me. I usually will just, I use like a spritz bottle, like a bottle to apply either water if I'm cleaning up tacky or if I'm using acetone. I'll generally go in with a Q-tip and just dip it in my acetone and clean off any like glue residue. Yeah? Yeah, sure, what's up? So the ponytails here, these are, I just had this because my lovely Chief Teeth up front was wearing this yesterday and I have it. But so this is actually a base of it's a batting base. I literally just kind of built the shape out of batting. I added a little bit of wire to keep the shape because it curled to just keep the curl shape. And then I glued all the batting together, and it looks like. And so this is a bit more advanced, I will say. But yes, that is how it is. Wonderful. I can just start taking questions too if people are glasses, red. Yeah, like quilter's batting. Yeah, you just get those thin batting. It's really great for. You can actually also heat form it if you have a low power heat gun. You can don't use a hairdryer; it's not hot enough. But a heat gun, like an actual heat gun, will kind of melt it. Be very careful because it will melt it entirely. But you can use it to kind of like condense the fibers and make a more solid shape. Yeah.
How do you connect the wefts to the actual clips?
To the clips? What do you mean? Like to the shapes, you mean? Good. So I use, for example, with this one, this is, I created the wax out of glue. I take some loose fiber, just like this, chop it off. I take some glue, glue it, smush it in, glue it like that, and just let it sit and dry. And once it essentially becomes like a weft on its own.
Aren't like clip-on pigtails.
No, they are removable, but it's a pain in the butt to remove them. They are on like tops of bottles.
Okay.
So there's bottle tops under there that sit there, and then they're on. You can screw them off. Yes, and then there's also a structure to keep the shape. There's like a spoke I made out of warblet in there as well. Let's see, there was a question over here. Yeah? Sorry? You can use hot glue, you can use tacky glue, you can use Uhu, any glue works. Hot glue is probably the easiest thing to use. That's usually what I use for it. How about?
Stupid question from someone who was asking about cosplay wig making.
Okay.
How viable is hair gel as an option?
Hair gel is fine, but it's meant for real hair, so it doesn't stay as well as using a glue. So that is my recommendation. Max. There's a big difference. Synthetic wigs are plastic. Human hair wigs are obviously made of human hair. I find that you treat both of them differently. I don't have too much experience working with human hair. I mostly work in in fiber. So that is it's more of like, I think of it more sculpting as opposed to a like you're still technically sculpting with human hair, but it's not quite. It's just generally like a thicker, heavier, like yeah, kind of like that. Exactly. You.
When you measure, like, how do you measure head sculpt to figure out what weight that's?
So your head circumference is from around your forehead to like around the crown of your head, basically. That's your head circumference. You can get, this is the crown of your head, is the the highest point of your head, and you can just use that as kind of, that's what I use as my basis.
So do you like measure that just like your head down and front, or do you like your hair?
You can, if you have a lot of hair and you need to put it under a wig cap and it kind of expands the circumference of your head, I highly recommend doing it with the wig cap on. But for me, I don't have a lot of hair. Like, my hair's very fine, so it doesn't really affect that. So just keep in mind, like, if you have really long hair, if you have really thick hair, you should measure with your wig cap on how it will fit when you are wearing the wig. You.
Attaching the wefts to the wig base, do you still use glue? Okay.
Yes, I use. So what I personally like to do for making wefts out of fiber and attaching them to shapes, so I will create the weft with tacky glue, because tacky glue is a little less messy, it is less prone to residue, and is also removable. And then I will glue it to my wig itself with the Uhu glue. Or you can use hot glue, but hot glue sometimes leaves bumps, so the Uhu is just a bit more easy to manipulate. But it does not move. I have tried to pull off fiber and not had success. Yeah, with the earrings. So to make individual wefts, you can literally just buy a wig and chop it. You can also buy Arda, Epic, Assist, Costcraft, any of those wig styling store, the wig specific stores do sell loose wefts on tracks like this, where you will just get a pack that is just a long track and it's just fiber. But you can also use that too, and you literally what I like to do, I will cut it right above the weft to keep as much length as possible, and then you have a loose weft, and then you can make it that way. Yes, so let's get wigs. We have Arda, ARDA, which is a US-based wig seller. I will, with a caveat with Arda, I think their stock is getting a little better finally, but due to the pandemic, they were having a lot of stock issues. So, but I personally really like their fiber. They also have really nice blends of colors, and I like them as a company too. So I tend to go towards them, but there are plenty of other companies. There's Epic Cosplay Wigs, which is another US-based seller. They do, their wig colors tend to be a little flatter because they don't usually do blends. They just do straight fiber, but their fibers are really great too. Then there's Assist, which I mentioned before, which is a Japanese company. They do have an international website that you can and will ship to the US. The shipping, I will say, is a little expensive, so if you have a group order, I highly recommend group order. I also recommend their premium wigs over their basic wigs. And also, now that the yen is so bad right now, I highly recommend checking them out, because You get some really good deals. And then Costcraft is the fourth one. Costcraft is a UK-based wig company, and they have a huge variety. I think they have like 50 different colors or something like that. They have a lot of colors. And I just more recently, I'm more new to them, so, but I've liked what I've had from them. They also do lace pieces, where it's the fiber on like a piece of lace. So if you want like a lace part on your wig, you can just kind of stick it in or sew it into your wig that way. Yeah. Thin wigs, I cut them up and use them in fiber and other things. That's what I do. Thin wigs, what you can do for thin wigs is if it's the color you want and you want to build it up, I will combine two wigs. Oh, poofy, yeah. So what I do, I use my thinning shears. So these are called thinning shears. You can kind of just trim and it will thin out your fiber for you to kind of get, sorry? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then you can also use the technique of point cutting, which is you take your fiber and you will hold it like this, and you literally snip at this, like you snip like with the fiber, so it's just getting some of it and not all of it is another really good way to thin it. Yeah.
What's the cost difference between starting with natural wig versus buying wax individually?
The cost difference is the time. If you are going to build a wig from scratch, I don't recommend it. Unless it's a very, like you cannot find the color anywhere, you can always find a base wig to start with. And especially now that like Casa wigs and like Doki Doki and all of them have character wigs, I highly recommend starting with a base. You will save yourself a lot of pain and mental anguish. Victor? Okay, yeah, so for wigs, what you can do if it is a wig that cannot be washed, you can take a little bit of vodka and put it in a spray bottle and use that to deodorize. You unfortunately, some wigs that you cannot wash them are not washable. You can just kind of deodorize them with the vodka. If it is a wig that you are willing to restyle, you can literally just give it a bath. You can take some fabric softener. You don't need real shampoo. Real shampoo has sulfates in it that are really meant for wigs. They do, I think, make wig shampoo as well now, but you don't really need. You literally can just take a little bit of like dish soap and just like rub it into your wig and then soak it, and it should be clean. Mane and tail is great. Yes. There's also Mane and tail has that, and I will also say another beautiful, wonderful product from Assist is this Sara spray, which is a silicone spray similar to Mane and Tail, but I don't know, I think it's just nicer. And it's also specifically meant for wigs. Let's see. Oh my goodness, so many questions.
Yeah.
You with the orange hair. Detangling, I don't know where my wig brush went. Oh, here's the wig brush. Right here, this guy. It's a wire tooth brush. They're the best for wig detangling. The really interesting thing I learned recently is if you have like a really bad snarl, you can tap at it with and it'll kind of loosen it a bit, and then just brush. Also, starting from the bottom, if you start from the top and you get a snarl, it's gonna get stuck. But if you start from the bottom and work your way up, you can kind of smooth everything out really nicely. No, it's just yeah, you can just use a wire brush. You don't necessarily need a spray. Sprays help, but you don't need a spray. A wire brush? The internet, Google, Amazon. Just Google wig brush. It's one of many. Let's see. Front cap. Longer wigs. So, I don't know if you were here when I first started, but my one big tip for long wigs that I've been really using I use for all of my commissions And for my own personal wigs is A, carry your brush around with you. Have someone brush you out, especially if you're doing a photo shoot, keep that on hand. B, I take the bottom couple rows of wefts on your wig and I will separate everything else out and I will crimp them, and that helps with the detangling so you don't get the like rat's nest at the back of your neck. And those are my two biggest tips. And then also a silicone spray like the Sarasara spray is another way to work with long wigs. Also, long wigs need to be maintained a lot more frequently than short wigs. How about Turner? I usually will build that shape with whatever I have. I will use batting, I have used tin foil, I have used felt, I have used it. You kind of just have to get creative, but felt, batting, and like just using tin foil, anything really light is very easy to help with that. Let's see, how about you, Dalzai? I think you're Dalzai. Wigs and storage. Okay, wigs and storage is a tricky one. So I personally will store all of my heavily styled wigs on foam wig heads, because I only have so many blocks and blocks are expensive, but wig foam heads you can get at like Joann's or Michael's for like $7. And I will use those to store my heads. I keep them all on a shelf in one of my closets. They also sell like hook things that you can sit the wig on. And then for my less styled wigs, I actually have a shoe rack. So I stick it's one of the shoe racks that just has like U's that you stick your shoes on, and I'll just stick the wig cap over the shoe loop, and I literally have a wall of hair in my closet. You in the back with the glasses, the earring. So when I try and use any clips, I make sure it's secured into the wig itself, not just holding the fiber of the wig. I make sure it's attached to the netting that's underneath the wig, so it's gripping like these pieces, the elastic stretchy pieces, and that's probably the best way you're gonna get. Make sure it's like really secured to the wig itself and not just the fiber. Let's see, blue hair. So if you have a specific pattern, there are a bunch of options. So if you have an airbrush or a spray, like a little spritz bottle, you can do that and use a little bit of either acrylic paint, airbrush paint, acrylics, like any plastic acrylic-based paint is your best bet. Don't use an oil paint, that will not be good. So you water down your paint if it's non-airbrush paint, and you can either use it in a spritz bottle, or if you have an airbrush, you can use it in your airbrush, and that will create more specific shapes. But for something like this, I will take and just create wefts and glue it on top and layer the fiber. So like there's the pink under here, like if you were to remove this, there would be more pink fiber underneath it, and it's just glued in place. As far as dyeing wigs, Rit Dye More is great. I highly recommend, if you are going to use Rit Dye More though, you get a separate pot, a stainless steel pot, and use that. Do not use anything you are going to eat on, do not use that. But you can create really nice custom colors with Rit Dye. Color theory works really well. Like color, these are white. Starting from white, white or silver is the best way to get dye to get it to the color that you really want, guaranteed. Yeah. How do you get rid of that? To get rid of the filling, I generally will just rinse the wig if it's too much, unfortunately. I generally will go from like a good, like a little bit away, and then just so it catches it, but it doesn't totally glob on it. And if it does start to glob initially when it's still wet, I just kind of smooth it out gently with the back of my pintail comb. So yeah, you just go in just like that. All right, let's see. You.
All right, I was about to ask for non-washable wigs. What if it just falls onto the ground into a mud by accident?
Well, if it falls on the ground in the mud, that's just gonna have to be. You're gonna have to just suck it up and restock
And wash it,
unfortunately,
basically. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
You have purple hat?
Opinions on like shears to a blade, for example.
I do like razors as well. I actually brought my razor comb as well. These things are wonderful. It's just a matter of preference, honestly. I will use depending on like how much effort I'm putting in or what's at hand. I'm really bad, and I'm just like, oh, if I have this at hand, this is what I'm using. Let's see, anyone else? Yes, you in the sparkly hoodie. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Please. Ventilation is key. Work in a big room, a big space, if anything. And if you have a respirator, respirators are great too. Let's see. Anyone else? I have not heard from Buddy.
When you buy the steamer, do you have to get the cheap dryer too, or is it just one or the other?
I would say it's probably good to have both for different purposes, but if I were to pick one, I would pick the steamer. You in the back. What's my to attack webs? Like a prop or an accessory. I will use glue. I use either clips or I like magnets. I had a wig that I made that I had a tiny top hat that I needed to wear, so I literally flipped the wig under, sewed in a magnet, and glued a magnet to the hat, and then it just sits on my head. It's not the most secure a lot of the time, but you can also, if you put glue a magnet directly to the top and get a direct magnet to magnet connection, you can get a really good hold still. And you want to use neodymium magnets, the rare earth magnets, or the strong ones. Those are key. Don't get the craft store magnets. Those do not work very well for this. Let's see. We have 9 minutes, so let's see. We can take a couple more questions. Red jacket? Yeah, no. Yes. Thank you. Yes, it's better to go slow and shorter and stay longer and go slow. That is a great tip. Yeah.
How would you go about doing like Kingdom Hearts / Final Fantasy?
Teasing and glue and hairspray. So like I was saying with the teasing, you're going to want to create the root. At the root, you're going to want to keep it's going to be knotted at the root when you tease it. And then to get the like poofiness to create your spike, like let's say this is your spike, you want to have it all frizzy, and then you're going to just shape it, and I usually just kind of go off the tip and just kind of like run my fingers through it so that you create your spike like that, and then you seal the top with glue and spray the crap out of it with hairspray. Alright, let's see, yeah.
What's your favorite versus least favorite wig to do?
Ooh, favorite versus least favorite. I don't know. I just really like doing wigs in general. Wigs are just really, I think they're fun and relaxing. I do them all the time. So I'd say probably a structural wig. I like doing cutting. I like doing heat styling. It's more the structural wigs that I'm like, oh, it just because it takes so long. Because gluing like that, like covering the shapes that are under here, took a good like 10 hours. So, like I said, you do need patience for wigs. Trust me, I am the least patient person in the world. And I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Yeah?
Do you have a recommendation for if I'm trying to do a hairstyle where it's like really close to the head and there's like skin breaks like in my hands? Like I was thinking like foam maybe.
there's a couple of ways you can approach that. If it is a more of a hairline thing, you can just use like a lace piece. If it's just like a really close, like a sideburn kind of thing, I recommend using some kind of lace piece. You can either get them on Costcraft or start with a lace front wig. As far as if it's like the back, if it's like a close crop, like
Straights of hair going down.
okay. In that case, I would. That's a tricky one. Stripes going down the back. I would honestly forego accuracy and do like kind of like long pieces. But again, I'd have to see the wig to see the design to kind of really get an idea for it. Yeah, of course. After. But to do like a really close crop of like a short wig, I recommend doubling up your wefts. So you're gonna get two of the same wig and take one apart and attach in more wefts, so it's a more dense back, so you get more coverage and you don't get as many bald spots when you're close cropping. All right. Yes, Team Rocket, I believe. Yes.
Yeah. Now I have a question. When you took out the plastic bag and the steamer, did you put like your curlers on first
Yes.
and then steam?
Yes. Yes. So you put all the curlers in, you put your bag over it, and then you hit it all with the steam. And then it kind of keeps it in like a steam bubble. Yeah. Okay, so what I did, I will come up to you. Sorry, I wish I could like pop it up here. So this is what I started with. There's the bottom cast, and I have a scope of Gorilla, and then no, it's like you want the rest of the top of the model, and really top the model, and it's for the top kind of screw. If people have more questions, we are almost at time. I have cosplay cards that I can get out. If you all want to come up here, but thank you guys so much for attending. I hope you learned something, and like I said, my DMs are always open. For now.